Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning Blaque in once again to the QueenAShakur TV show. And for those of you tuned in to Authentic Black Goddess TV, I'm your host, QueenAShakur, and this is your second dose of your daily vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channels if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so that you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right, shout out to everyone in the chat and everyone tuned in to the Queen. So let's get into it, people. Let's get into it. So some of you may not have ever heard of this incident. Some of you may vaguely remember it or whatnot. But as of Monday, December the 20th, it was the 35-year anniversary. 35 years later, recalling the Howard Beach attack and the racist teens who targeted Black men. All right, so that's what we're going to talk about. And the reason I thought this was important to talk about, well, first of all, it's important anyway, so that we remember and know how wicked these demons can be. And also, this reminded me in part of Ahmaud Arbery's case. All right? It reminded me of that to a certain degree. So Monday was the 35th year since a group of young white male thugs, right, violently confronted 3 Black men who had become stranded after their car broke down. Now, they brutally attacked them with baseball bats, chunks of wood. I mean, just whatever they could find, these racist devils. And they left them for dead in the Howard Beach neighborhood of New York City's Queens borough in 1986. Now, these men were just driving along, minding their own Black business. And unfortunately for them, their car broke down on the wrong side of town, apparently. Now, the person who died was 23-year-old Michael Griffith. He was chased into highway traffic where he was fatally struck by a vehicle driven by the son of an NYPD officer. Now, the teens responsible had been shouting racial slurs at the Black men. One witness even told the New York Daily at the time that they were all, just chasing them with sticks and bats and just yelling all these wicked racist things. The people weren't even bothering them. Like I said, their car broke down and they were trying to fix their car so they could get out of there. Excuse me. Now, the death of Griffith, a Trinidadian immigrant who had been employed as a construction worker, was compared by then New York City Mayor Koch to lynching parties that existed in the Deep South. He reportedly ran into traffic on the Belt Parkway while unaware of the road and trying to flee from his attackers. Now, the white guys were yelling, "Come here, nigga, come here." This is what they were saying. And this is what John Patterson said, who said that Griffith, this is what John Patterson, who said Griffith moments before he was killed. All right. One of the thugs worked at a good paying job for 30 years before anyone knew who he was. I did not believe it. Right. Absolutely. Because, very often these people go into obscurity and you don't hear from them. They stay out of the spotlight and all of that. Just like Carolyn Bryant, right? No one knew where she was for years after that whole Emmett Till debacle. No one knew where she was. No one had really heard anything about her. She stayed under the radar until Timothy Tyson went to interview her for his book. So anyway, they go on to say the racially motivated attack happened in the early hours of December the 20th, 1986, after Griffith and 3 friends, Cedric Sandiford, age 36, Timothy Grimes, age 20, and Curtis Sylvester, age 20, got in a car in Brooklyn to drive Griffith to get his paycheck in Queens. Now, but when the car broke down in Queens, Griffith, Grimes, and Sandiford ended up walking to nearby Howard Beach to find a payphone to try and call for help. Sylvester stayed behind with the car. Seemingly, as soon as they entered Howard Beach, a mostly white neighborhood, now they were confronted by people yelling racial slurs and telling them to leave the neighborhood. Still, the Black men shrugged it off and decided to grab some pizza because they were hungry. Now, it was shortly before 1 a.m. at this point. That's when a dozen white boys, aged 16 to 19, they called them boys, they were men, a dozen white men, ages 16 through 19, armed with baseball bats, tire irons, tree limbs, and all, began waiting for them outside of the pizzeria. "What are you doing in this neighborhood, niggers?" they asked. Once the men left, they were promptly pounced on and savagely beaten simply because of the color of their skin and because of the location they happened to be in. Someone said, "My God, I have a son like you, 17 years old." That's what Sandiford reportedly told one of the attackers. "Please don't kill me." Grimes was able to escape unharmed. Now, police soon responded to find Sandiford, the boyfriend of Griffith's mother, beaten and bloodied, and racially profiled him as a suspect in Griffith's death. So rather than them chasing the racist devils who did this heinous act, they looked at the black man who was clearly beaten and bloodied himself and tried to say he was the one who attacked Griffith, the one who ended up dying. You see how these devils do? And that's why I say, you can be a black person if you want and call the police for help. And they'll come there and demonize you, either beat you, kill you, or lock you up when you call for help. We've heard it all too often. Now, then NYPD Commissioner Benjamin Ward, the first black man to hold that position, reportedly scolded the Queens commanding officer for his officer's insensitivity towards Sandiford. Well, I'm glad he did. Now, 4 of the teens, John Lester, Jason Ladone, Scott Kern, and Michael Perrone, were charged with manslaughter, second-degree murder, and first-degree assault, while the rest of the racist attackers faced lesser charges. Lester, Ladone, Kern were all found guilty, while Perrone was acquitted. Now, Lester, an immigrant from the UK, who was the attack's ringleader, testified in court that he saw the black men and went back to the party he had been attending to alert people that they were there. He said, "There's niggers on the boulevard." This is what the New York Times reported. He implored anyone who would listen, "Let's go kill them." That's what he said. Now, what kind of devils do this? I'm glad you asked. Racist devils. He simply saw them there. They weren't bothering him or anyone else. And he goes back to the party to get back up. Because mind you, what I always tell you is these devils, they're not big and bad. They're cowards. And they'll never attack a black man unless they outnumber him or them. And they have weapons. And the black people don't. Other than that, you see he went back to get back up, right? And then talking about there's niggers on the boulevard. Let's go kill them. Now, the Times reported, they say the attack inflamed simmering tensions between blacks and whites in New York City, sparked angry marches by protesters who were met by local residents outraged in turn and being tarred as bigots. And with the case drawing worldwide attention, it transformed predominantly white Howard Beach into a metinon of racial hatred. 35 years after the Howard Beach attack, similar racially motivated attacks are still happening across the country. Yes, absolutely. This sounds like what happened to Ahmaud Arbery. Black man minded his own black business, just happened to be in a predominantly white neighborhood. 3 thugs see him and they decide to chase him and kill him, just like this group. So just goes to show that nothing's changed but the date. Because in this racist country, they're still doing the same thing to black people that they've always done. The same exact things. Haven't changed one bit. All right? Now I'm going to show you some footage of what people were saying at the time all of this occurred. Okay? Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Subscribe to the channels if you haven't done so already. Thank you in advance. I'm going to mute my mic for a second so I can show this.
Desire as Christ as being the Prince of Peace and this disturbance that has come to our community. Very much upset after hearing some of the reports of the youth being between the ages of 16 and 18 years of age. And just totally upset that the Christian doctrine is not being lived in this particular area by perhaps those individuals.
What's the genesis of the problem here in Howard Beach? I mean, there is an underlying resentment between black and white. Can you trace it?
I really can't trace it. Most of the people who have moved to Howard Beach have moved from areas where they have I would say, poorer areas, and they have come to this particular area to set up their homes. As you would notice around here, the homes are rather expensive. And I guess there's a fear of perhaps losing their value. And it is an area where there are so many good people, and so many people are really suffering now because of the actions of just a few.
You think there's more to it?
I think so. The facts hasn't come out yet. Lots more to it than we know of.
Not just what you're reading in the paper.
That's
All
right.
Well, what do you think?
What do I think? You want to know what I think? I think all this media coverage is blowing this thing out of proportion. Because it's white on black. You guys are going to make this a racial thing. There's no racial thing. I'm Jewish. I'm Italian also, though. You know, I get called a Jew bastard. I get called everything there is. You know, something's got nothing to do with it. You're black, you're white, you're anything. You're going to have a problem. This is the street. This is the street. I'm a product of the street. White, black, Puerto Rican, I don't care what you
don't
are.
think there's a black-white thing
There
now,
is
do you?
no black-white thing here.
Why did these three guys get jumped?
Because they were in a neighborhood starting, and I don't care what you want to read in the paper. I don't care. They walked over to a couple of white girls. Hey, girl, I got something for you. I got something too. Listen, that ain't no big deal.
Is that any way?
No, I'm not condoning what they did in any way. I ain't saying it was right by any standards. That's not the point. The point is they weren't right. Right and wrong, they were wrong. But you guys are blowing this out of proportion, all this coverage here. What is this?
So there's no black-white thing?
No. There was no meeting.
Robbed in this neighborhood a year. At least 1,000, 2,000 cars are robbed in this neighborhood.
You say blacks do that?
No.
I'm not implying anybody.
Little kid like this.
But a lot of cars get robbed. Little kids with their bikes, $1,000 bikes
Yeah,
get
but
robbed.
what does that have to do with black and white?
Well, I chased a black kid, all right?
You chased the black
I
kid?
chased a black kid, all right? Because they robbed the little kid's bike. The little kid was crying on the corner. I saw the black kid take his bike. He's crying to me, get my bike. I get the bike back, brings the knife to me and everything, and the cops called him. And the kid got his bike back, and the kid was out.
Yeah, but a
2
white
hours
kid
later.
could have done that too. No?
We don't
not
bother
in
going
this
into other
neighborhood.
neighborhoods.
Not in
Why
this
should we bother going
neighborhood.
to another
Hey, what would
neighborhood?
happen to us if we walked through Bedford-Stuyvesant or something like that?
Say that again. Come here.
What would happen? I get stabbed, I get killed. My father got
That
100.
would happen. That would happen. This won't be on the news.
Wait, I know. My father got 192 stitches.
It was a white
in his
kid.
back. He
It
got
wouldn't
into
be
a
on the
fight with a
news.
black guy, 2 of them, and they stabbed him in the back with a hunting knife. 192. I didn't see no reward for his guy. Nothing. It wouldn't even make the news.
Well, what you're telling me is that there's black-white resentment.
That's right. It's both ways.
If this was a white
That's
guy that
common
got killed,
sense. Anybody
it
can
wouldn't
tell
even
you
be
that.
on the news.
Probably right about that. All right.
How about when a white guy got shot up here? When a white guy got shot by...
What do you have to say about that, Sty? If you walk, what?
If I was walking through Bedford-Stuyvesant at 3 o'clock in the morning, what would happen to me?
What would happen?
I'd get beat up too. Maybe killed.
Probably killed.
So you're telling me there is a black-white thing here?
Right.
That's saying that he's using you.
I'm not using me. It's
I'm going to stop it right there. I'm going to go back to it, but I want to talk about what they were just saying. Now, they sat there and they talked out of both sides of their mouths because they said at first it wasn't a black-white thing. It doesn't matter, what color you are. You're in certain places and this will happen. But then they start talking about, I want you to pay attention to how they always liken black people to thievery. They always liken black people to thievery. They said, oh, the little white kids' bikes get stolen. Somebody's bike got stolen. There's lots of cars getting broken into. I'm sorry. What makes them think that's black people doing all of that? As if they themselves don't steal and rob and commit burglaries and car burglaries also and carjackings. They do those things themselves. And since black people obviously weren't usually in that neighborhood, as you could see, that's why when they saw some black people, they reacted the way they did and carried out that attack. Because apparently black people are not normally or weren't normally in that neighborhood. So if they were having robberies and things, who was doing it? Likely them. Likely them. But they say it doesn't have anything to do with race. But then immediately they go to talking about a black boy took a white kid's bike. What does that have to do with that if that's nothing to do with race? And why are they bringing up what other black people did who had nothing to do with the black men who were attacked? Were those black men stealing bikes? Were those black men burglarizing cars or houses? No, their car was broken down on the side of the road. But I want you to pay attention to how racist dogs and devils, they sit up there and they try to make an excuse, a justification for why these things happen to Black people, even though what they're talking about has absolutely nothing to do with the case at hand. And then they say, oh, the media, you're blowing this out of proportion. And the one guy said if he went to Bedford-Stuyvesant, then at 3 o'clock in the morning, he would probably get beat or killed. That's not true. That's not true, because Black people have not historically been known for attacking white people who come into Black neighborhoods. That's just not true. That is absolutely not true. The opposite would happen. I guarantee you, a white person in a Black neighborhood at 2 or 3 in the morning, usually Black people are going to think that they're stranded, there's something wrong, they need some kind of help. That's the difference. Black people aren't going to say, oh, there's a white person out here in this neighborhood, let's go out there and attack them and kill them. That's what Black people are not going to say. That's what they say, racist ones of them. That's what they say, and that's what they do. And we have proof of that from the different times that they've done it, numerous of times. That story rings true to the same thing that happened to Ahmaud Arbery. Black man in a disproportionately white neighborhood ends up hunted like a dog, chased, and murdered. So it's a tale as old as time. Now, I would like for any of them to find cases, not just one, because I'm sure you could dig up one of any case if you looked hard enough. But I would like for them to collectively come up with numerous cases where the shoe has been on the other foot and where one of their people has come to Black people's neighborhoods and had that same treatment and ended up dead. I'd like for them, and then the police tried to cover it up to help the Black people and the prosecutor and all of that. They would never have a case like that, so they can miss me with it. So with that all being said, I'm going to go back to the video. Everyone, please like and share. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already.
I think most of the people are very frightened to know that right here in New York City, I mean, it's hard to believe that right here in New York City, there would be such intense racism, such physical violence. Yeah. So that's basically, I would say, the thoughts that are going on now. That's
any talk of revenge or doing anything about it?
Well, there's very few things that the civilians can do, except for speak about it. I think this is really something that the politicians must take on, and the police must take on, and the judicial system should take on. Yeah, I think it's really up to them to see to it that the guys are brought to justice.
Okay,
yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. You're welcome.
But they please, because this, as I said, this is America. This is a free country. So,
Thanks. It was working for back then is back to square one.
well, I believe it is. I don't think it never left the 50s. Everything is just there. It's just like it's an enclosed thing. Bigotry is here and it's going to stay here. I mean, like I go out there to Oklahoma every now and then. Same thing there. Certain time in the hour of the night, you got to be inside. If not, you up the creek. So.
What's the neighborhood saying?
Well, the neighborhood's kind of, there's a lot of tension here in the neighborhood now. A lot of people know the young man, and it's a shame just the way he had to go. Only thing I believe he just wanted to help.
Did you know?
Yes, I've seen him around the neighborhood a few times.
What sort of guy was he?
Well, as far as I know, he never gave me any trouble throughout the neighborhood. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But other than that, I believe he's a fairly decent young man.
Did
Any of the guys here know?
I believe so.
Any of you guys know Mike? Yeah.
I said that was wrong, you know. It ain't had to even really be like that. How could that be 15 guys on one guy? What type of shit? That's saying you can't go out of Brooklyn without being like, you know, you got to be aware. Even if you go out of your part of town, you got to be hiding and running and hiding. That wasn't right in this act, man.
When you saw the newspapers the next day after all.
Now, I want to show you all a couple of more clips of videos where Black people, right, past and present, have caught hell just for simply going through a white neighborhood, minding their own Black business. Hold on. Everyone, please get the likes up. Please like and share. Now, this video that I'm about to show happened 45 years ago. And then I'm going to show you a more recent one.
We had called them bike hikes. We were just going out to go explore your world.
It would be at least 6, 7, 8 of us. Our parents said as long as you were home before the streetlights came on, you stayed as a group, you're fine.
It was a beautiful day, sunshine. The children in the neighborhood planned to go on a trip to McDonald's, just have some fun, something different to do.
Rosedale, we thought, was a safe place. We all went down, we were riding our bikes.
And then we saw down the block that there was this beautiful American flag blowing in the wind.
We saw a group outside on the block, so we was like, oh, this is a block party.
The last thing that I remember was someone saying, oh, a parade. And so we went down to go see the parade. And I laugh about it to this day because it was a parade to get the Black people out of Rosedale.
It's the summer of 1975. White residents in Rosedale, Queens are protesting Black families moving into the neighborhood. These are scenes from a documentary produced by journalist Bill Moyers.
Does he have a right to live here?
No.
Why not?
Because he's Black.
This was not the South. This was not Greenville, Mississippi, or Spartanburg, South Carolina, or Atlanta, Georgia. This was right in the heart of the greatest metropolitan area in the country.
The documentary was found nearly 45 years later by a graduate student who posted a short clip on the internet. It went viral on Twitter and Facebook. And a question people kept asking, where are the kids now?
Hey, Rob, this is Whitney Hurst calling from the New York Times. My name is Whitney Hurst. I'm a journalist.
To answer that question, we called more than 90 people who had lived in Rosedale at that time.
I was trying to find anyone that might have known someone.
We couldn't find any white residents who said they'd been there.
Came out because she got a little bit crazy.
But we spoke with several of the Black children. We wanted to hear what happened to them that day, to understand why their experience is resonating decades later.
We went down to see what was going on, probably in the middle of a block. That's when we figured out it was something else. And it was something that we definitely were not invited to.
We noticed that they were running towards us. I was like, wow. Like, why are they rushing towards us, not thinking anything negative? And then we heard, nigger.
They surrounded my best friend at the time, Marina. One of the young men hit her. They started calling us names. They started throwing rocks.
Hearing the word, hearing it directed at me, Why are you calling me that? That's not me. You know, I've always been told that's not me. I didn't understand. I was like, who do you think you are to say we can't come here? Like, how dare you?
What happened to you?
This little boy, he threw the rock. He tried to hit my sister, but he almost hit me about that much away from me. And I was sure wish he had hit me with that rock. I would pick up the rock right next to me and hit him right dead in his face.
I was just kind of amazed to see that people can act like that, to tell you the truth. But that was like really the first where I was like, wow, people do not like Black people.
They gonna always do that. They always spit on us like we some dogs. They always spit back on them. Ain't nothing gonna change.
I immediately was reminded of those programs my parents would have me watch with the dogs and the hoses and people trying to vote and being killed and lynched. It went right back to my history in this country. It just linked me immediately with that whole experience because I felt it.
Do you forgive them?
No. No. Can't take back no hurt.
And I didn't know what to do with those feelings. I did not know what to do with those feelings.
For Moyers, the video going viral shows how powerful images can be.
He tried to hit my sister, but we were in their neighborhood.
I mean, I do believe that television has been a great teacher. This country didn't really respond to what was going on in the South, although it was well known, until the sheriff in Birmingham turned the water hoses and the dogs on those young people who were demonstrating there. We knew about it. We heard about it. We were aware of it, but we didn't see it. We couldn't escape it once we saw it.
I love she said she would hit him back with the rock. Yes, and I love that the other little girl said no, she doesn't forgive them. Because that's what's wrong with many a Negro these days. They always want to be talking about forgiving, right? Especially for people that don't even ask you for your forgiveness. Please make that all make sense. Hold on. Lights up, everyone. Now, so like I said, this happens all the time. Nothing new here. We all remember this video. Hold on. Let me go to the clip. Lights up, everyone. Please like and share.
And walk. Let's go. Walk away.
Things escalate quickly.
There's a difference between pushing you. You're aggressing on their neighborhood.
Someone came running up.
You better walk away. You walk away.
If he sounds like a drill sergeant, that's because he is. He's been identified as 42-year-old Jonathan Pentland, a U.S. Army drill sergeant at Fort Jackson in South Carolina.
Now, so with that all being said, it's the same things continuing to go on. And like the little girl said, she said, they ain't never gonna change. Ain't nothing gonna change. And she's right. Nothing has changed. They're still doing the same wicked things that they have always done. And they very often get away with it. That's why they continue to do it. All right? And then they want to play the victim when you speak out against them for their nefarious behavior and actions. Then all of a sudden they want to play the victim. Or when you want to teach about it in schools, they want to play the victim and say that you're teaching and spreading division. When the only ones spreading division are racist devils, okay, who keep up BS. G. Purr says that is why we keep getting busted upside our heads, turning the other cheek. Exactly. Exactly. Ross said it is worse up here. People try to hide their racism. OJ allowed New Yorkers to see their neighbors for the racist devils they are. So anyway, that's just all real crazy. And like I said, that is just very reminiscent of the same situation that occurred with Ahmaud Arbery, the incident where they attacked those black men in Howard Beach and killed Michael Griffith. Sad thing is that poor young man was just going to pick up his check. Something so simple turned out that it cost him his life. And that's what you have to worry about in these days and ages with all these racist devils just roaming the streets. But now they've been emboldened because you see their hero, their new idol, Kyle Rittenhouse. Well, he got away with killing people. And just by simply saying that it was self-defense. So now there's even more of them who will feel more emboldened to do the exact same things that Kyle Rittenhouse did. All right. So anyway, with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I want to thank you all for tuning in once again. Please make sure you like and share the video. Subscribe to the channels if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click the notification bells. And also, don't forget to text the word Royals to 1-844-589-6096 in order to receive occasional text offers, notifications, and alerts. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at QueenAShakur. Make sure you follow the QueenAShakur fan page on Instagram, and you can find me on Twitter at DGoddess27. All right. Have a blessed and lovely day, and I hope to see you all in the next chats. Peace.